We all can undeniably agree that every single one of us sitting here is a human.
Are we though?
And as humans, we are stories-driven creatures. Our whole society is based around stories, and it was like this from the very beginning. In the past, we sung ballads and wrote poems about amazing hunts, battles, and intense love affairs. We also create amazing and wonderful myths and legends about mighty heroes to which we can aspire, or monstrous villains whose behavior we should probably avoid. Nowadays, we have books, movies, series, cartoons, animation, operas, theater plays, musicals, and uncountable number of more incredible media that feeds us stories. Even though the forms might have evolved, or you can say that they just changed over the years, they all still serve the same main purpose, which is to build communities, to create a sense of belonging to a group, while also helping us unwind. What is culture if not a bunch of stories shared by a tribe of people? But let's not be groundless. Let's root ourselves in science to show how obsessed we really are with stories. In 1944, an experiment was conducted by scientists at Smith College, during which subjects were shown a short video extract and were asked to describe what happened in the video. Pretty simple, right? So simple, in fact, that I would like to recreate this experiment right now with you as my subjects. So let's watch the video and think of the answer, what happens in the video. Yeah, so what do you think happened? Was it just shapes floating around? Or maybe was it something more? Well, the original subjects of the study had no doubt that there was a certain plot in this video. They assigned the shapes with traits of character, they interpreted the movements as if they were human-taken actions, and even gave the polygons and circles age and gender. Oh, well, you did too. Why? It was just shapes floating on a screen. You must have over-interpreted, you human. Well, it's just what we do. We naturally So, knowing that, I want to tell you a story or an anecdote from my life that inspired me to come up with this talk in the first place. So, let's present to you my dad. My dad is a logical thinking person. He does not often enjoy art, and he is certainly opposed to fiction. But one day, he wins tickets to the new blockbuster movie Spider-Man No Way Home in a competition organized by the company he works for. Naturally, my dad is very happy and proceeds to go with my mom and see the movie. But the interesting part starts when he comes back home and says, "Oh, yeah, the movie was fine, the visual effects were amazing, but what was the takeaway?" And I was not expecting this question. I didn't have any answer. I didn't say nothing. So my dad just thought that there was no answer, that there was no takeaway. Some time passes, and we are at a dinner at my grandparents' house, and somehow the topic near the table comes down to modern movies. My grandfather and my dad agree that the modern movies are worthless, meaningless, and that they are just a show and cheap way to entertain yourself. And it resonated with me, it touched me. I felt with my gut that there was something wrong with that. So after we came home, I came up with some deeper motives that the movie covered, which resulted in me and my dad having a vivid discussion for a long time, which eventually led up to us discussing the death sentence. So as you can probably guess, we learned a thing or two from that conversation. So maybe, just maybe, the movie wasn't so idiotic after all if we were able to have a discussion and learn from it. But obviously it's not just about our personal prejudice that keeps us from learning from pieces of art or culture. How about we talk about critics' reviews? Don't get me wrong, they have their advantages. I mean, they try to assess the quality of a piece in order to recognize the craftsmanship of the creators, and most usually reward them, which is a great thing. But I think that they shouldn't be anything more than that. Anything more than a technical analysis of acting performance, construction of the plots, or camera work. It most certainly shouldn't force us or pressure us into watching or reading something that we don't want, and shouldn't keep us away from something we are interested in experiencing. What do you think? Can an animated romantic comedy influence someone's life or change someone's views about a thing? If not, then what about a story about an antisocial high schooler in search for something genuine, a genuine bond, a genuine relationship in a world, in the modern world, where everyone has masks and is acting in order to hide their true identity and their true self and their true emotions? I'm talking about Origami, which is a Japanese animated series that literally left me crying with a hole in my heart after finishing it. And what about musicals? Like the theater plays or the movies, musicals? Are they ridiculous, cliché, and unrealistic? Personally, I don't think so. But even if they were, it doesn't mean that we can't learn from them. Because their reality in this genre is banded with singing and dancing for a reason. It has its purpose. There is no other media that conveys emotions as well as the universal language, not English, music. Paired up with a thoughtful choreography, and you've got yourself a nearly magical experience that grabs your soul. And to address that cliché part, what is a cliché? I think that cliché is a great idea that someone came up with and thought that it was so important that if he shared it with the whole world, it can change people's lives. And the idea did its job so well that everyone kept spreading it because it was so true and valuable. And also artists wanted to portray this amazing idea in their art, which resulted in its excessive use, that's true, but it doesn't, or it didn't, lose its meaning. I think that you should focus even on the ideas and concepts that you've heard 1,000 times before, because how do you know that this 1,001st time it won't trigger an original thought, which would result in triggering another original thought, and another and another, and eventually leading up to a eureka moment when you discover something about yourself, or even better, the world that surrounds you. You can also question the cliché, if it's true or is it false, if it's right or wrong, and if it's false, then why is it false? And if it's false, then why do people repeating it? And if it's true, then how does it resonate with me? How does it correlate with my life? Does it affect me in any way? Or how to perfect the idea and how to make it even more relevant and more true? The directions of reasoning and explorations are limitless. I believe that with enough sensitivity and creativity, we can truly learn from any story that we consume. We need to hunt for meaning and value and use our natural talent to do it, or at least do our best to do it. To focus on what we experience and give it a thought, instead of becoming a lazy snob that divides culture into easy and, well, easy to interpret high culture with a capital C and this garbage pop culture for woolly-headed masses. And if you took anything away from my talk, also known as an immature bubble of a teenager, then it means that I might be right. Thank you all for listening, and thanks for coming to my TED Talk.